Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning how to sew any large frontal, a 13 by 6, 12 by 6 or a 4 by 4 gluelessly in a perfect way, then stay to the end of this video. Thank you. So before we get into this video, please ensure that you're subscribed to my channel. Thank you. So I'll be taking 8 measurements for my mannequin. This mannequin has my exact measurements. So first off, I'll be taking the measurement from ear to ear around the hairline. It's 12 inches from ear to ear around the hairline, but it's actually showing 13 because I started my measurement from the 1 inch. So that's why. And I'm going to measure from ear to ear over the head. So now I'm going to measure from the nape to the front. So from the nape to the front is a 13.5 inch, just like my own normal head size. And then I'm going to measure the circumference. The circumference is 22 inch. This is how you actually take a client's head measurement. So you don't really. So now I'm going to be placing the cap, and I'm going to be placing the cap on the starting point. The mannequin has a mark that shows where it starts from. That's because my actual nape to the front of my head is the same with the mannequin. So I'm going to be placing it at that exact point, the 13.5 point, and then I'm going to adjust the back of the cap in a way to fit the mannequin's nape also. If you're seeing lines in my cap, that's because I just had to pick this cap. I was not having any other one available, and I already marked this one, so I wanted to sew this frontal wig. And this I'm actually sewing this frontal for a knotless braided wig, so you can also come back to my channel to check out that video. And so I just had to use this cap because that was what was available, and I didn't want to postpone the whole thing. So my cap is properly set, and I use pins to help me. So now I take my frontal. This frontal is a cannon frontal that I made by myself. So I take my frontal, and I'm going to be taking the center measurement of this my mannequin head. So because I'm using a cap, I'm just going to draw it down. And then my frontal is a 12 by 6, so I'm marking 5 inch away from my hairline. That's because we'll be placing this frontal 1 inch away from the actual hairline. So I measure 5 inch away from the cap, and I mark it. That is the exact point that I'll be placing the base of my frontal. So you can see the mark. You can see the mark along. And so from that point, I'm going to measure 6 inch towards the I think 6 inch toward the right side of my mannequin head, and then I mark it. I measure 6 inch towards the left side again, and I mark it just as you can see. So 6 plus 6 will give us 12. That's the actual measurement of my hairline over my head and around my ear to ear over my head. So to get the center of my frontal, I'm just going to fold it into half and then mark the center from there and pin it. When I'm done pinning that down, I go ahead and I pin the front of the frontal too. So I drag it towards the front of the mannequin head, and I also pin at the front. So here comes the most tricky part. This is the part where you need to pay attention to get your frontal to be perfectly glueless. This is where you need to pay attention. So I'll be pinning down the sides of the frontal at the exact place where I marked 6" around the left and the right side of my mannequin head. So I'll be pinning the sides of the frontal there. So when I'm done pinning down the sides at the exact point where I measured and marked 6". I'm going to take a tape, and from that point I measure down towards where my hairline stops. I measure down towards where the hairline of the frontal stops. So after taking that measurement, I take half of the measurement. So I measured down towards where the hairline of my frontal stopped. So this one, from the point where I pinned the 6" point to the hairline of the frontal is 4 inches. So I divide it into 2. So I'll be left with 2 inches. At that point of the 2 inch, I drag it towards the sides. And I place it around the 1 inch mark, just at the tip of the cap. I place it around the 6 inch mark, just at the tip of the cap. So I measure the sides. It's 4 inch. I take half of it, which is 2 inch. And just at that point, I drag it and I place it at the edge of the cap around the 6 inch mark. Just at the edge of the cap, I pin it down. So after pinning that down, I take out all the pins that I placed on the side around the 6 inch mark. So I take it out and I just arrange my frontal. So I take it out and I start sewing from the center. Guys, this is a large frontal. This frontal is a 12 by 6. It's a 12 by 6 because I customize it myself. So I'm just going to sew the sides, and when you sew the sides of a large frontal, most of the times it doesn't come out as perfect and as flat as a 13 by 4 will come out. So I'm just going to sew like that, and at every point I'm just going to adjust. So the most important thing is getting the center of the frontal and the sides placed where. Every other thing you just have to use logic for it. So as you can see, since the sides are properly placed, I just use my logic around, and I try to just fit it in. Sometimes it might not all come out um, straight, that flat. You might have rippled edges around the base. That's why I am going to sew twice. So when we go around the second time, everything will come out really flat. So to get your frontal glueless, one thing I take note of is that when I get to the 6-inch mark, I stop sewing down and I just sew exactly at the point where I marked. So I stop sewing down and I sew exactly at the point where I marked. And to make your glueless frontal stay intact in your head, like to make the front of your glueless frontal like sit firmly on your head, you have to make sure that when you get to the sides, you drag the edge, you drag the frontal, you have to drag it and place it. You have to drag it before sewing at the exact point that you pinned. So you have to drag it very well before you pin it. You have to drag the sides very well before you pin it and mark it and sew it at that exact point. So that's what I did here, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other sides. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing on this other side. So I completed this side of camera. That's because it's just the same thing as what we did on the first side. Now when I was done sewing for the first time, I went over and took it out and I wore it on my head, and guys, see how perfectly it fits my head. There's no comb, no elastic band, nothing, just my frontal wig, just my frontal. I'm just wearing a frontal that I'm not even done sewing. I'm not even done with sewing this frontal, and see how intact the edges look. See, like guys, I'm really so impressed. I tried this the first time, and I faced so many challenges, and it was very difficult for me trying to get it, but this time around it all came out perfectly and I'm so happy. So I'm just going to go back and put it on my mannequin head and sew again for the second time. So as you can see, my some of the edges around the base are kind of rippled, so I'm just going to go back and sew around again. So when I go back and sew around again, it eliminates all the rippled edges and everything just comes out looking flat and nice. I also went ahead and completed the right side of the frontal of camera. So this, I was done sewing and I had to cut off the inside of the cap so I can wear it properly now, and you all will see how nice it looks. After cutting off the excess material I went back and I wore the frontal again, and this time around, see how well it fits. So I'm going to insert a clip of when I cut around the ear part, so you all will see how well it fits me. I went ahead to add elastic band after braiding the wig, and you can see this big part that I made around the band of the closure. This is the part where I'm going to be placing my elastic band soon. To get the accurate length of the elastic band that I'll be using, I use a tape to measure across my ear to ear around my nape area, and mine is about 9 inches. So after taking this measurement, I went ahead to remove 2 inches, that's 7 inches. So I'll be cutting my elastic band on the 7 inches area. With my needle and thread, I sew the bands about twice to make it really secured. So guys, I actually made a knotless braided wig. As you can see, that's what I'm sewing on. So this wig is my end result. So please, you can check out my channel by next week Tuesday. I'll be making a post on how I achieved this braided wig. So do well to check it out, and if you gain value from this channel, please ensure that you subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, comment, and share to your friends. So thank you all for staying to the end of this video. Thanks, and see you all in another video.